has a plan?
It appears so. I don't think that we can insult what he's doing right now. We could say it's a year late. We could point to a lot of things that he hasn't done right. But there's no denying this was the direction he had to go into. Restructuring the deals of CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, creating an additional $57 million in cap space is important. What did CeeDee Lamb say? Why did he agree to restructuring this deal? He said, quote, because I want to win. That's why. And when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, and then re-upping Saquon Barkley, giving him a 2-year deal, for over $40 million, when you consider, the Washington Commanders and how they've acquired Deebo Samuels to join McLaurin and Jaden Daniels and all of this other stuff and what they've been doing, there are clearly two teams, both participants in the NFC Championship game, a game that has escaped the Dallas Cowboys franchise for the last 29 years and counting, by the way, 29 seasons, 30 years, all right? You got to do something. You can't stand pat. And that's what they're doing right now. Do I think it's going to be enough? Hell no. Do I think that they're going to have a shot at winning the division? No, they're going to lose. They're going to be in third place in all likelihood. We get that part. But the point is what they're doing is what they have to do, because the last thing they could do was nothing, because you would be, just basically, ordaining that you're going to be where you were last year, particularly with a new coach that's never been a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the question is, does this plan result in a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. I do think the Dallas Cowboys have a plan. They do the same thing they do every year.
Hey, Woody?
Yo.
Before you continue, it won't even develop into a division crown. You said Super Bowl, please. It won't even get him a division crown.
Wow.
Well, go ahead.
Think how good the NFC East is.
Oh, no. The NFC East is turning into a beast. There's no question about it. But my point was, like, the Dallas Cowboys, first of all, they've never spent money in free agency. They're like, over the last 4 years, one of the bottom teams as far as least amount of money spent in free agency. They always go into this whole thing. They believe in drafting their guys, developing, and paying their guys. Yeah. So they're creating cap space because we've seen it already. They're paying their guys. Now, obviously, they got to pay Michael Parsons. The question is it enough for them to be contenders? Absolutely not. I think the thing that, as a Cowboy fan, and Molly, you know this. Yeah. My wife is a Cowboys fan.
Oh, she sure
is. She's a Cowboys fan, and for her to.
And how long have you been married?
25 years.
To a Cowboys?
Can you imagine? Yeah, long.
Oh, his wife's amazing, Stephen.
It's been a long.
I know she's amazing.
Yeah,
I know she's amazing, but nobody can be perfect. That's an imperfection.
Tell me about it, but I can't say that. I can't say that in the house.
Well, you kind of just say on national TV.
Well, yeah. I know what I'm walking into when I get home.
Us.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, I just, the question is it enough for them to compete for anything? Absolutely not. They don't have enough. I think that if you ask any Cowboys fan, the frustration that they have with Jerry Jones and company is, what are the moves outside of drafting and developing that you're going to make to close the gap? Mm-hmm. And that's what we've seen the Philadelphia Eagles. What did they do? They went out and got Saquon Barkley last year, and look what happened with Philadelphia. Not only that, but then Zach Bond. Like, look at the moves that they made. Not only that, but then had the fortitude to say, you know what, Saquon, you were so good to us that we're going to give you a whole new contract.
Correct.
Think about that. Zach Bond, we're going to pay you as one of the top inside linebackers in the National Football League. What teams are out there spending big money on a running back and an inside linebacker? So you see what Philadelphia is doing, and you're sitting there scratching your head. Dallas, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now? It's not enough to just draft and develop. You need subsequent moves in order to get you closer.
I'm with you. I love that you brought up the Eagles thing, too, because we hear so often people say, like, okay, I've given you this money, and now I expect that you're going to, like, earn this money. No. Money that you give is for services rendered, and the Eagles know that, which is why they wanted to go back to the table. But when it comes to the Cowboys specifically, I kept laughing at this story just because of the choice of words that they're using. Like, we don't want to say we're going to be aggressive. And that's because last year they said, we're all in. And then they were all in for like $20 million, which is the lowest amount of money, to your point, that was spent in all of free agency. Last year, Stephen Jones said that they didn't get CeeDee Lamb done as quickly as they wanted because the receiver market, there was people getting money. They sort of needed to see those dominoes fall. Max Crosby has just reset the market for defensive players.
That's right.
Your first task needs to be to extend Micah Parsons. A, because it's a no freaking brainer. You just take whatever Max Crosby got and you make it a little bit more. And secondly, because extending Micah Parsons actually gives you additional cap space. And I'm with you. It is a CVS receipt for what the Cowboys need to be contenders. I mean, a CVS receipt, a laundry list of things that they need, Woody, right? Starting with getting a competent and capable second receiver to be the counter to CeeDee Lamb. They have secondary issues. They need some depth there, so they probably need to re-sign Jordan Lewis. Like, there's a few things that need to happen. I think Rico Dowdle is a guy that I see you rolling your eyes, Stephen A.
No, it's not you. It's not you, Elle. It's not you. It's a producer in my ear. Every time I look down, you're on camera. Like, damn. Well, go ahead. That's what that was about. I'm sorry, Elle. Go ahead.
I got you. I've got it a couple times too.
You know?
Like, can a brother look down?
Can a brother look down? That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Like the Eagles
That's
looking
what
down
that
at the
was.
Cowboys.
That was not about what you were saying. I apologize.
And it's all good. But there is the point I'm trying to make here is that do I believe Jerry Jones has a plan? Maybe, but I'm not sure it's going to be an effective one.
But
They
can I say
cap
this?
space, though. They cleared cap space with the Dak deal. So it's like, what are we doing
And
with
CeeDee,
that?
they can clear more.
Are you trying to be funny here, Molly?
No.
Are you? Because that sounds like a backhanded slap.
I'm being
oh well,
legit.
they are freeing up cap space, but what are they going to do with the cap space?
Right.
I think my problem with the Dallas Cowboys. You talked about we got to pay Micah. You had to pay CeeDee.
Yeah.
The problem is you wait too long to do these type of deals.
You offend
like
them.
Philly. I'll go back to Philly again. Okay, you traded for A.J. Brown. You paid him. You were able to pay Devontae Smith. You did all these things ahead of time. So you don't put yourself in a situation where other people are setting the market, and now you gotta shell out this money, top of the line deals that set you back as far as team building is concerned. So listen, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to go out here. They're going to re-sign their players.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to be enough.
Major NFL news, Seahawks star wide receiver DK Metcalf has requested a trade away from Seattle, prefers to be dealt to a contending team. A source told Adam Schefter the request came on the same day the Seahawks announced the release of fellow receiver Tyler Lockett in an unexpected move. Now, ESPN NFL analyst and Seahawks fan Mina Kimes with the real-time reaction posting on social media. Just fell to my knees in a CVS. Love that you were in CVS. One of my favorite stores. Mina joining us live now. Hey, Mina. Good morning. Thank you for being with us. Rough day for you, obviously. You're on the struggle bus at the pharmacy. What do you feel like is the best destination for DK?
Yeah, first of all, I actually was in a CVS that was not made up, and falling to your knees is the only way you can get someone's attention to get something there these days. I think the Seahawks should try to keep DK. I want to throw that out there. But as far as trade destinations, the team that I keep coming back to is the LA Chargers for a couple of reasons. Whoever trades for him, need and cap space are important. DK Metcalf, you're not just trading for DK Metcalf, he only has a year left. You're trading for him with the intention of signing him to a large contract. That's why, by the way, you got to this point with Seattle. My suspicion is they don't want to pay him anywhere close to the top of the wide receiver market money. The Chargers fit both of those parameters. First, from a need perspective, Ladd McConkey was a home run last year in the draft. He is fantastic, and I would argue he is better than a wide receiver too. However, he does his best work in the slot. They still need a big-bodied boundary X receiver who can win outside the numbers and downfield. Metcalf would be a perfect pairing with Ladd McConkey. Second, cap space. The Chargers have over $90 million to spend. There are other needs on that roster. You saw they released Joey Bosa, so edge is a need. Interior offensive line is need. They're picking 17th in the draft. It is my belief that this is not a particularly strong draft for receivers. It's also not a particularly strong free agent class. So if I'm the Chargers, spend that money on a proven player, and then you can take shots elsewhere at edge and offensive line.
First of all, I've said this numerous times. Mina is my queen. I will never disagree with anything that she says. Mina's takes are based in reality, research. Mine are just based off vibes. So with that being said, is it okay to say, Mina, that I think the team that probably needs him the most is the one trying to trade him? Like, there's clearly a need, right, with letting Tyler Lockett go, and actually, like, they do have some cap space now after letting him do. But since he wants out, and that's not going to happen, let me give you my pipe dream, and it's completely selfish as a Broncos fan, but I would love to see him in Denver, simply because I think Courtland Sutton has been super solid, but I think he is a super solid number 2. I also think he fits really well into that Sean Payton offense and what he likes to do. I think a guy like DK Metcalf could be a huge upgrade. However, I'll throw a name out here for you. If financials weren't in play, and of course they are, but if we didn't have to worry about financials, Buffalo. I think he accomplishes what they were trying to accomplish by trading for Amari Cooper. He's that big physical guy for them. I think that they're receiving core over-indexed and really outperformed probably what people expected. But I do think that, not to pick on a guy like Dalton Kincaid, but when it came to the end of that game, a surefire guy who you can go to, a reliable and true number one, I feel like he'd work there. Again, cap space is definitely an issue, even if you get Von Miller out of there, so I don't see that happening. But then my final one, Stephen A., before I pass it on to you is, in terms of the team that need him the most, and by the way, not a contender. I always love when they say he'd prefer to be traded to a contender as opposed to what? The basement?
Yeah, right.
No one says that, right? Like, send me to the worst team. I want to go there. But if that wasn't in play, the team that needs him the most is the Patriots. They have a ton of money. He is an instant upgrade. They do have a quarterback, and he'd have a little bit of runway there. So I think there's the team that probably need him the most.
Oh, damn, Elle, this ain't Sports Center. You gave about 5 teams. I mean, my Lord.
Three.
I mean, where's the best things? You gave about 5 teams, okay? They said potential trade picks. They got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Packers, the Patriots, the Cowboys. That's what they said, potential trade picks. Me personally, my answer to this question would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, because God knows they need a receiver, okay? They definitely
They need a quarterback.
It's yes, but they're not talking. But remember, Rooney and them came out and said, they anticipate that they're going to keep Russell or Justin Fields, one of them, as opposed to going out and getting somebody. So since that's what you're intending to do, then the next best thing is to make sure you expand those options at the wideout spot rather than relying on a very talented but temperamental George Pickens, because that's something that's been problematic for them. When we look at DK Metcalf in his 6 years in the National Football League, we know what he can do, but we also know that he's been reliable. He hasn't run a distraction or anything like that. He comes ready. We appreciate that. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're in desperate need of that, okay? He was going to be like 25 million cap hit, Mina? I think only Devontae Adams, and before CeeDee Lamb restructured his deal, he was like third in the list. But now, in terms of cap hit, he'd have been the largest dude at the wideout spot. You Seattle, you don't want any parts of that. I got it. They clearly, it's a situation where you like Geno Smith, but you see, they let go of Tyler Lockett. They don't mind DK talking to somebody else. You got to wonder what the hell is going on in Seattle right now. I think that if you DK, you want to go someplace where there's some level of stability, where you could be that dude, because he'd be in Pittsburgh as the likely number one because he's more trustworthy, dare I say, than a Pickens. I think you explore that if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.